Hello there, and many thanks to you for joining us on this week's episode of Energy and You. The show brings you weekly highlights of activities in Nigeria's energy sector, with a focus on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited. I'm Egusa Igumbo. Tonight, we focus on the National Oil Company's relentless commitment to the war against crude oil theft in Nigeria. And as the Yuletide season approaches, NNPC Limited says it is certain of a robust PMS supply beyond the festive period, including an awareness on the dangers of encroaching on pipelines' right of way. Details of these and more in a moment. Stay with us. Let's begin the show with some global energy stories making the rounds this week. The Nigerian government has initiated moves to crash the price of liquefied petroleum gas, otherwise known as cooking gas. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpo Ekpo, set up a steering committee to look into the soaring price and challenges bordering on the supply. The federal government waded into the issue following a rise in the price of LPG per kg from 700 naira to over 1,000 naira in some parts of the country. Oil prices tumbled mid last week after the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, including Russia, postponed the ministerial meeting to November 30 to iron out differences on production targets for African producers. Since then, the group has moved closer to a compromise, according to 4 OPEC Plus sources who spoke to Reuters over the weekend. ING analysts said market sentiment remains negative because of a dispute within OPEC Plus over production quotas, although they expect Saudi Arabia to roll over its additional voluntary cut of 1 million barrels per day into next year. Brent slipped towards $80 a barrel ahead of OPEC Plus meeting. Investors await the OPEC Plus meeting later this week for an agreement to curb supplies into 2024. While Brent crude futures fell 39 cents to $80.19 a barrel, the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures was at $75.10 a barrel. That's down 44 cents. Both contracts rose slightly last week. It's their first weekly gain in 5, underpinned by expectations that Saudi Arabia and Russia could roll over voluntary supply cuts into early 2024, and OPEC Plus might discuss plans to reduce further. Meanwhile, ahead of the OPEC Plus meeting, estimated exports by OPEC countries have declined to 1.3 million barrels per day, below levels in April. Goldman Sachs analysts said this in a note in line with the group's supply targets. There are expectations on an extension of the unilateral Saudi and Russia cuts through at least the first quarter of 2024, and unchanged group cuts, although a deeper group insurance cut is likely on the table. The United Arab Emirates is set to ramp up exports of flagship Mobile crude early next year as a new OPEC Plus mandate kicks in and barrels are diverted to the international market, owing to refinery maintenance, according to traders and Reuters data. The International Energy Agency said it expects a slight surplus in global supply markets in 2024, even if the OPEC Plus nations extend their cuts into next year. With the Yuletide season fast approaching, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, has assured Nigerians of enough petrol to sustain the nation throughout the festive period. Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, made this promise during a courtesy visit to the National Assembly in Abuja.
The Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, led a delegation of the company's senior management team on a courtesy visit to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio at the National Assembly. During the visit, Kyari lauded the National Assembly for its pivotal role in enacting the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, which birthed a new commercially oriented national oil company guided by the Company and Allied Matters Act principles. He noted that the passage of the act significantly improved the company's profitability, shifting from a loss of 803 billion naira in 2018 to a profit of 674 billion naira in 2021.
I would also like to add, Excellency, that it didn't stop there. That our financial statements for 2022 have not been published. But I can also tell you that we are not just doubling that performance. This company is very, very likely to post profits in the excess of 2 trillion naira in 2022. Since July, we have started paying dividend to shareholders. We have started paying interim dividend to the Federation.
Acknowledging crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism as major challenges, Kyari noted that the ongoing collaborative efforts with the nation's security agencies and third-party security contractors have yielded positive results, leading to an increase in the nation's crude oil production. He emphasized the company's abundance of products to last through the Ember period and the New Year festivals, with robust plans for the supply of petroleum products, especially premium motor spirit (PMS) or petrol.
Our production went down, both crude oil and condensate, to below 1 million barrels. This was because it was no longer possible to produce oil. Our major trunk pipelines were shut down because of the activities of vandals. We are happy in the previous Senate and this Senate, there are actions that have been taken to ensure that we get to the bottom of this, to support us, to support government in making sure that those excesses are clearly contained. But I'm happy to also say that with robust interventions in the last 5 to 6 months, where government security agencies have done things differently, our intervention through the private security contractors has yielded results. And today, I can happily tell you that we have recovered crude oil and condensate production almost closing 1.7 million barrels. We are not there, but we'll be there.
Kyari further stated that NNPC Limited is investing in several gas and power projects across the country, diligently working to revamp local refining of products and collaborating with indigenous refiners to make Nigeria a net exporter of petroleum products, while supporting the federal government's power generation and industrialization aspirations. In response, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio commended NNPC Limited's initiative on the rehabilitation of the nation's 3 refineries, foreseeing a multiplier effect on the economy. He also praised its commitment to ensuring a robust and adequate supply of petroleum products during the Yuletide period.
That in the next 3 months or thereabout, that you have made adequate arrangement to ensure that Nigerians can drive into the filling station and purchase their fuel or diesel and go back home without hassles and without sleeping there during these Christmas. So we want to congratulate you for looking forward. And of course, that initiative is good. I must say that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the 10th Senate, is appreciative of your efforts and will partner with you in all endeavors, including rejigging where necessary, tinkering where necessary, crossing the T's where necessary, and dotting the I's where necessary in terms of our various legislations in order to smoothen the ease of doing business in the oil sector and also assisting you to improve on performance.
The visit by NNPC Limited to the National Assembly is a testament to the company's commitment to ensuring that all stakeholders are carried along in its operations and delivery to the nation.
NNPC Limited says it is not backing down in the fight against crude oil theft. The National Oil Company made this commitment at the Federal Account Allocation Committee retreat organized by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with the Delta State government. The 4-day retreat, which was held in Asaba, the Delta State capital, had as its theme creating a resilient economy through the diversification of the nation's revenue. Financial experts from all around the 36 states of the Federation were at the retreat to explore avenues to diversify the nation's economy.
In a presentation by the Chief Financial Officer, Umar Ajia, who represented Mele Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, shed light on the company's operations under the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. Ajia underscored the company's commitment to collaborating with national security agencies to counter crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism, emphasizing a zero-tolerance approach toward crimes affecting the nation's energy security.
The main challenge for this country is the way and manner that crude theft, vandalism, and illegal activities are being allowed to continue unpunished. In other countries, it is not so, because the consequence is very severe. Well, this map is showing you the dotted points where illegal activities have occurred. So it's enormous. We are dealing with thousands of connections. Every day the security agencies are closing some leaks, and then overnight new ones develop. This is the operation. The security agencies are doing their best, but as they go in and they come out, new ones spring.
He further commended the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act in 2021, highlighting how it significantly positioned the company for sustainable business success and alignment with global best practices. Ajia pointed out that the company contributes over 40% to the nation's total tax revenue.
So what has changed? This has brought about improved corporate strategy, more brand identity. We have business and operating models. We have ability to access funds on the strength of our balance sheet. We have a optimized organizational structure that is fit for purpose. And we have also appropriate policies that have been approved by the immediate past board. And we also have complementary processes and systems that back our operations. And I can tell you that amongst government-owned companies or agencies, there is no company that is highly automated today than NNPC Limited.
NNPC Limited's Chief Financial Officer also emphasized NNPC Limited's dedication to financial integrity and the ongoing collaboration with the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NITI, to maintain transparency by keeping its books open to all relevant stakeholders.
Time now for our weekly update on the fight against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism by NNPC Limited.
Across the Niger Delta, the war on crude oil theft is on, and the industry-wide security collaboration continues to record remarkable progress. Between the 18th to 24th of November 2023, 226 incidences were recorded across the Niger Delta. In the past week, 77 illegal refineries were discovered and destroyed in Rivers State, Delta, Bayelsa, and Imo states. 39 illegal connections were discovered in Abia and Rivers State. 21 cases of pipeline vandalism were also recorded in Rivers and Delta State, where a boat fills up with crude from a vandalized wellhead. 5 cases of oil spills were recorded in the past week as well, while 5 illegal storage sites were uncovered in Rivers, Delta, Abia, and Bayelsa State. 13 vehicle arrests were made in several locations in Delta State. Here, a truck carrying a tanker of stolen crude under the guise of transporting animal feed was arrested. On water, 55 boats conveying stolen crude were apprehended in Delta State. Between the 18th to 24th of November 2023, 35 suspects were arrested across the Niger Delta. 9 of these incidents took place in the deep blue water, 34 in the western region, 104 in the central region, and 79 in the eastern part of the Niger Delta. For NNPC Limited, there is no backing down on the war on crude oil theft until the menace is eradicated for good.
Next on Energy and You, our feedback segment examines how much citizens know about the dangers of encroaching on pipelines right of way. But that's after the break. Stay with us.
What do we do at NNPC? Since inception as the national oil company of Nigeria, our mandate has been to serve the nation and meeting the energy needs of over 200 million people. Over the years, we have invested in tomorrow's leaders and contributed to the development of communities across the nation. We have grown a network of over 500 service stations. We are the driving force behind the constantly growing Nigerian economy. With an efficient distribution network servicing all parts of the country, we ensure the highest quality standards in our crude refining processes. Nigeria boasts of immense oil and gas reserves which we explore in commercial quantities, providing endless opportunities for economic development. As we drilled for oil, we discovered vast amounts of gas, up to 200 trillion scoop. By harnessing gas, we have reduced gas flaring and invested in liquefaction plants, shipping gas across the globe. Our energy footprint is remarkable. We supply gas to the domestic market for power generation, reaching all across Nigeria. Powering everything, anywhere, and everywhere. NNPC, energy for today, energy for tomorrow.
You're watching Energy and You. Today we talk about safety and well-being of communities in Nigeria. We look at the dangers of encroachments on pipelines right of way. Now, NNPC Limited has over 5,000 kilometers of petroleum products pipelines across the 36 states of the Federation. Encroachment on areas where these pipelines are buried or placed poses grave danger for people and communities living nearby. It can lead to explosions, fires, and other devastating consequences. The vulnerability of people living along the pipelines right of way is a major problem for the industry, NNPC Limited, and the country at large. Well, let's hear what Nigerians think about it.
Building houses along the pipelines ways are very dangerous, and then it's very dangerous. Reason is because it's not a positive development. One is that the risks. Secondly, the physical problems that it might cost in the future. And sometimes the government will come again want to demolish building around the pipelines and economic loss.
It is not proper for human being to build on top of NNPC pipeline. It is very, very hazardous because the pipe can explode, which can burst into flame, and it is very, very dangerous to human life.
Living across pipeline areas is that your life is in danger because anything can happen, and you are prone to a fire outbreak.
The general public is advised not to do so because of many risks that is involved. Anything that involves human life, we shouldn't toy with it. So that's why the general populace is advised not to build their houses on the pipeline, neither to do any business on the pipeline.
NNPC Limited recently held a collaborative security stakeholders meeting with with relevant security agencies at the NNPC Towers in Abuja. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss and devise strategies to enhance the security of NNPC Limited's operations and facilities across the country. The meeting reinforced the collaborative efforts between NNPC Limited and security agencies to provide adequate protection of all oil and gas infrastructure.
Organized by the Group Security Department of the company, the meeting had stakeholders and representatives from relevant security agencies, including the Nigerian Police Force, the Department of State Services, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Security Defense, the Federal Fire Service, the Nigeria Immigration Services, and the Federal Road Safety Corps. The meeting discussed the need to establish dedicated communication channels between NNPC Limited and the security agencies for rapid response and efficient sharing of information, and the importance of timely and accurate intelligence sharing. In an opening remark, the Executive Vice President Business Services, Danladi Inua, who was represented by Mr. Taufik A. Arowolo, Head Human Capital Management, Operations and Service Delivery of the Human Capital Management Division of the NNPC Limited, expressed appreciation to the security agencies for their continued support and emphasized the criticality of security to the operation of NNPC Limited. He also outlined the challenges faced by the company on issues of pipeline vandalism, crude oil theft, and sabotage.
Our assets, without security and proper protection of our pipeline, for example, there's no way we can be reaching out to 300 barrels of crude per day. So the top management is appreciative of your contribution. We continue to collaborate with you. We continue to call on you from time to time. And when you need us also, feel free to call us.
NNPC Limited provided details on the existing security measures implemented to safeguard its operations and infrastructure, exploring the CCTV surveillance systems, security personnel deployment, and various technical solutions, while the security agencies acknowledged the sophistication of the existing security infrastructure and commended NNPC Limited for its efforts. Both NNPC Limited and the security agencies expressed their commitment to strengthening their partnership and intensifying the efforts to ensure the security of oil and gas infrastructure as regular meetings. The meeting between the NNPC Limited and relevant security agencies demonstrates an understanding for enhanced collaboration and joint efforts in overcoming security challenges faced in the oil and gas sector.
And that's all on this week's episode. Thank you for watching. If you missed any part of it or previous episodes, you can catch up by scanning the QR code on your screen now. Remember to also follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen to get updates of events in Nigeria's energy sector and other activities of NNPC Limited. Thanks again for being a part of the show. I'm Egosa Egumbo. See you again.